Hey YouTube, don't give in to fraudulent return requests. What do I mean by this? Since managed returns has been in place, there's been an increased amount of return requests that have been opened fraudulently. Let's give you a quick example. In late September, we had a customer buy 3 items from us, and they bought it separately. Each item they bought separately on the same day, and so it counts as 3 separate transactions in the eyes of eBay. I don't know why they didn't use the quantity option, but they didn't. So we send the item out tracked. As with all purchases where customers buy multiples, we all send it out tracked. Because they bought 3 items, and I was a little bit suspicious because they didn't use the quantity option. So we sent it out next day tracked. In fact, we sent it out special delivery, which is a next day service. The next day they received the item, and 2 days later they open return request, and to my surprise, rather than them opening the request under change of mind or something that puts the blame on them, they decided to put the blame on us and open a fraudulent return request under significantly not as described. Now, with our item, we get very few returns, and when we do get returns, they're rarely ever because the item isn't as described. The defect rate is very low in this item in general, so it's very unlikely that you can buy 3 of the same items and all 3 are faulty. Had they said 1 wasn't working, 1 of the 3 wasn't working, maybe. 2 of the 3, maybe again. But to say 3 out of the 3 items are not working is near impossible. Actually, it is impossible. The way that these items are packed, they're actually pre-packed. So, because typically most customers only order 1, so we have them pre-packed. So when a customer orders 3, what we do is we get 3 of those pre-packed items and put them in the larger pack. So it's unlikely that 3 separate batches individually packed into a larger pack will result in all 3 becoming faulty. It's just impossible. So over the next couple of weeks, one by one, the items are returned back. And I found this a bit strange because generally speaking, most customers that buy quantities, if they do return it, they return how many they received at the time altogether. They don't send them back separately. So I thought that was a little bit strange, but they sent it back separately one by one. When all 3 items were returned back, we inspected the packaging and tested all 3. And you know, I wasn't really shocked to learn that all 3 items were working perfectly. There was no fault whatsoever. In fact, 2 of the 3 items weren't even opened. One of the items was opened. You can see it had been opened, but again, it was in fantastic condition, as brand new. The buyer probably just didn't want the item anymore. That's what it looked like to me. So we message the buyer and we say, look, the item's been returned back and we've tested it and it works. You know, what's your stance on this? Like, what was the problem with the item originally? Because it works here. And we didn't get any response back. So we send out another message a few days later, just reiterating that the item is returned and tested and seems to be working. Again, no response from the buyer. So, you know, it's only so much I can do. I keep my mouth shut. Now, on day 30, I'm expecting the case to time out. Now, what's supposed to happen is the case is supposed to time out and I effectively get 3 defects. Typically only get 1 defect per transaction, but because he ordered all 3 separately, it counts as separate defects. So I was expecting the case to time out on day 30 and to get 3 defects and negative feedback, 3 negative feedbacks potentially. But day 30 came, the case didn't time out. That was very strange. I think eBay glitched. So I got onto the phone with eBay, and I explained that it's been 35 days by that point, and the case hadn't timed out. Now the lady on the phone, she thought it was a little bit strange and put it down to a system glitch, and she manually closed the case in my favor. She did this because on her system it appeared as if the buyer hadn't returned the item. This is because when the buyer returned the item, he sent it using the post office, and when you go through managed returns, they give you a label, and he didn't use the appropriate label, so it appeared like he hadn't returned the item. I kept my mouth shut. So the lady on the phone, the representative from eBay, she closed the case down in my favor, and all the funds were released, and I didn't get a defect. Luckily, the lady managed to close it in a way which absolved me of defect, because it was 100% in my favor, the ruling. So normally, what I'm trying to highlight in this is that normally, when the buyer returns an item, for whatever reason, we always process the refund, whether we get a defect or not. But I thought that this was an exceptional case where the buyer was, fraudulently conducting himself on eBay. He bought 3 items, all 3 as snads, and they all were working. Was unwilling to even reply back to my emails when I confronted him about it. So he was being uncooperative. Then because of the way he opened the case, I'm going to get 3 defects, possibly 3 negative feedbacks, and I'm going to have to pay the return shipping. In addition to that, I already sent it out special delivery, so I would have lost a lot of money. So in this situation, holding out worked out, to my advantage. And if you guys are in the same boat where you're 100% sure the buyer is abusing the policy, I say don't give in. Don't issue the refund straight away, because sometimes they're just trying to push their luck. So that's my story. Buyers, using the managed returns for fraud. Don't give in to fraud. Don't give in to managed returns. So I hope you enjoyed my story. There'll be more stories to come. Visit our website, powersellerresearch.com, and until next time.